you going there, peeps? Phil here from MTG Kiwi Philosophy here again, bringing you yet another deck tech. This one I like to call Izzet Spell Bombs. Now it's a fantastic win condition deck. You will become the bane of your opponent's life, literally. All you need is 4 pieces for the combo to work, and here they are. You need 4 copies of Apex of Power, 4 copies of Banefire, 4 copies of Doublecast, and 4 copies of Omnispell Adept. Okay, so let's start with the Omnispell Adept. As you can see, it's a 5-drop wizard that is 3/4, but the ability to be able to tap it for 3 and cast an instant sorcery spell from your hand without paying its mana cost is fantastic. So here's how the combination is going to work. What we're going to do is you're going to cast Doublecast first, so you really only need 5 mana to be able to cast this combination. And if you've got all 5 of these cards in your hands, you're winning. Okay, here we go. So what you want to do, cast Doublecast into an Apex of Power off the Omnispell Adept, and basically you want to double up on the Apex. You're going to drop 14 cards into your graveyard, and you're going to have 20 mana to be able to play with. Now the beautiful thing about this is that if you can pick up a Banefire and another Apex of Power, it's just a win con straight away, because you're dealing around about 30 damage. If you're not, you're probably going to be dealing around about 19 damage. And of course, leaving your opponent on 1 life is not terribly hard to remove. But the great thing about Banefire is that, well, you know, once you pass the X5, you can't be countered, and it's straight to the face. Alright, well, let's get into our lower curve, into our higher curve, and show how we fill in these gaps to make this combo work. Okay, so moving into our 1-drops, we've got 4 copies of Siren Stormtamer. Now the Siren Stormtamer is a fantastic card, having a 1/1 that flies, that can deal that 1 damage that we need to get in for our combination, and on top of that, being able to sack it and being able to protect our creature, our Omnispell Adept. 2 copies of Lava Coils and 4 copies of Lightning Strike. Now these 2 are great cards, great for creature removal, great for lightning to the face, and of course we're going to move into our 3-drops, and in our 3-drops we're going to go with 2 copies of Risk Factor, because Risk Factor is fantastic as well. It's 4 to the face, otherwise we get to draw 3 cards, and you know, card draw is all what we're all about. You know, and I think there's nothing wrong if you want to play around in the sideboard and do something different with this deck, and even double cast Risk Factor, because 8 damage, you know, for 5 spells is pretty good. It would be pretty sick in a mono red deck as well. And of course, moving into our 4-drops, and that is we want 4 copies of Chemister's Insight, because once again we want more card draw. We want to be able to draw into the cards we really want to get our combination piece going, because that's really important for the deck to synergize and do its work. And there's nothing better having an instant speed spell that we can draw 2 cards off and then discard something in our hand to get another 2 cards if we need to. And of course, the last card in our deck we're going with is 4 copies of the Murmuring Mystic. Now the Mystic's in there because it's a great blocker, and of course with every instant sorcery spell triggers a 1/1 flying bird, which is going to be great with the evasion, getting the 1 damage in, and also helping us with our blockers. Okay, so that's the deck, that's the main deck. Let's move on to the lands and the sideboard. Now in the lands we're going to go with 4 Steam Vents, 4 Sulfur Falls, and 2 Memorials of Genius, so that we've got more card draw once again. And of course our basic lands we're going to go with 7 Islands and 7 Mountains. Let's get into our sideboard now. Our sideboard we're going to go with 3 copies of Ionize, 3 copies of Divedown, and 3 copies of Fiery Cannonade. So the reason we have these in here is Ionize is a great counterspell, but dealing 2 damage as well, gets that extra damage in when we need to. We talk about that 2 damage. We could just basically avoid using any of the other, you know, go more control based if we really wanted to. And the dive downs there is also just to help extra protection for the likes of our Omnispell Adept, which is going to be really crucial to the key part of our combination. And the Fiery Cannonade's great for just wiping the board, keeping it clear, so we've got no incoming damage from low-end creatures. And our next 2 cards in the sideboard is 3 copies of Beacon Bolt and 3 copies of Mission Briefing. Now the Beacon Bolt's fantastic. It's a creature removal card that's based upon the amount of instant sorceries we have in our graveyard with Jumpstart, which is fantastic. And also don't forget that Risk Factor has Jumpstart as well. So, you know, thinking about Risk Start earlier, we talked about being able to double cast it and then cast it, and then of course that's 8 damage to the opponent, or we draw 6 cards, or 4 and 3, however it works. But the beauty of it is, you know, being able to Jumpstart that and being able to just play it again, and 12 damage is pretty brutal. And of course that's what mission briefing's in there for, because if you've got the good mana fixing, you're going to be able to return a Doublecast or any of those other spells, which would be really fantastic. Mission briefing could be used to even cast Apex if you really want to, or just even a nice removal spell or damage to the face. Anyway, that's me here from MTG Kiwi Philosophy, short and sweet. Anyway, don't forget, smash that like button, share, subscribe, and I guess I'll catch you on the flip side. Ciao!